I'm just curious because I was listening and I was like, especially with this being about like educating people who don't understand, who don't know about this. I'm like, I know nothing about them. Like, I'm so bad at packing.
I feel like I'm not good at it. I just like the goal is to just have less stuff.
Mhm.
But I packing isn't good. I like just stuff shit in a suitcase and sit on it. Isn't that what everyone does?
Yeah, that's what I do.
No, no, no. Come, hold my hand. Let's go on an adventure. Do you have your Diet Coke ready?
No, I don't have anything.
Hey, we're talking. You're gonna need a beverage.
I'm professional over here. No, I'm not. No, I literally went downstairs to get coffee and then I came back upstairs.
Okay, go get it. Like, go get it.
No,
Hi. No. Hey, hi. Welcome to Momatic Adventures. I am here with my best friend. Their name is Kat. They are very, 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 very cool. And I'm going to give a little bit of information that might make you cry, which I think is the best thing to go into an interview doing. If you go into an interview crying, it can only get better, right? I didn't want to start a podcast because I like to quit things. I get nervous really easily. I am insecure. I could probably name like 10 more reasons why I didn't want to start a podcast. And a bunch of people were like, do it, do it, do it. You should do it. You should do it. And I was like, fuck you. You're an idiot. You don't know what a podcast is. And then you said, I should do it and that you would listen to it and that you think I would be good at it. And I was like, hold on, guys. Kat said it. So the next day, I ordered a microphone and gave myself this like level of accountability that was like, you're telling everybody you're going into it. At the same time, you were going through like a big transition in your life, and you continuously kept saying, I'm going to just say it out loud so that I can manifest it. And I was like, that. So I want to say thank you from Momatic Adventures, but especially from me. You are the reason we're here, and I appreciate you and love you.
you're welcome.
No, but yeah, actually, I am.
Oh my gosh, I did cry.
Good,
So rude.
good. I hope everybody cried a little. All the
Me too.
you people who have listened to this. Uh, So I want to go with first initial question, which is like, who are you as an individual, as a person, as a human being? Kat, who are you?
I am a married parent. I use they them pronouns. I have for like 6 years now when I figured that out, which was fun. Um, I've got two kiddos who are hilarious and ridiculous, and I love them. I am a spouse. I have a spouse named Phil, who you and Co call philanthropy. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I have my own little craft business that I came up with out of the blue a couple years ago, and it like was kind of a lifesaver and a game changer for about 2 years. I make flags. Um, I
So
have
if
perfect
anybody like
pitch.
pause, you do have perfect pitch one, which is hilarious. Two, you make flags. So if anybody is like, I'm gonna just, you have a job, you have kids, you're very busy. But if somebody wants to get on the wait list to make a flag, to have a custom made pendant for their house, I have several. Poppy's first decoration essentially for her nursery that we don't have. Uh, for her crib now, no, is a flag that you made us, a pendant.
Yeah,
What is that called?
That's a banner.
A banner.
That's
That's
a
called a
banner.
banner. Um, and it's lovely and we love it. And so many people love it. And we get compliments on it all the time. And you're very busy and very talented. But
No,
if somebody wanted to find you and purchase your work, how would they do
yeah.
that?
I am Fire Sign Flags on Instagram and Etsy, or firesignflags at gmail.com if you want to email me. That's probably the quickest way to get a hold of me these days. But yeah, fire sign flags because I'm a fire sign and I make flags. And I wanted to make it a big part of my business. And I did.
The fact that you're a fire sign, I think makes you spicy.
It does make me spicy. I've
And so
heard people say, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like, and your flags are spicy, and so like
Yeah,
that's an apt name.
thank you.
Done. Good job.
Agreed. I pretty quickly, not judge people, but I figure out who they are based on their signs pretty quickly. And I hate that I'm that person, but I'm that person.
100%. I do that. I met someone yesterday and I said, "Oh, you're a, X, Y, and Z." They were a Capricorn, if anybody cares. And then
Mhm.
started like going through the list of traits. It was mind you, it was a 1.5-year-old, a 1.5-year-old with zero personality. But not that the kid had zero personality, but he's
Yeah,
a new person. He's learning. He's figuring out who he is. And I'm
yeah.
like, "You're a Capricorn. Ooh, so you must be like so strong-willed. Oh, you must be like so independent." Like I had all these like
Yeah.
dumb, and I'm like, "Ooh, Effie, what are you doing?" Like,
But
this is
like,
a
I wish
kid.
that wasn't true, but my Sagittarius 1.5-year-old is such a Sagittarius 1.5-year-old. They're spicy. Like,
Mm, they truly, truly are. Like,
yeah.
your other kid is a Pisces, though.
Yeah. And what I was going to say earlier was I heard somebody once refer to Pisces as spicy Pisces. And I was like, oh, no. What's the spice? Mayonnaise? Like, no, you're not spicy, baby. Sorry.
Um, and no, yeah,
Philanthropy has
I
brought me pasta.
uh, hell
I love you,
yeah,
sarcastic. I
philanthropy.
love you
Thank
too. It is
you.
that, yeah. Thank you. I love you.
But get out of here. We're doing mom stuff. But yeah, a lot of my favorite people are Pisces, and your
Gotcha.
eldest is no exception to that. Okay, cool. So parent,
Hmm.
partner, artist,
Yeah.
you have perfect pitch, non-binary,
Yeah.
hot,
Sure.
funny,
Yes.
inspirational. I'm gonna come
Yeah.
up with two more adjectives for you.
Well, let me give you two more things. I have three cats and I love them. I'm a cat parent. And I just started a new job in the arts and I'm really freaking excited about it.
I'm not gonna include any of those. You're kind and a little bit spicy and not like
Yeah.
mayo. Um, so you're a parent of cats. You work in the arts, and I know that children come into where you work. It's a
Yeah.
all age type place.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, I, what is your current connection to kids? I mean, you've really talked about it, but like, what is that like for you in your perspective?
Yeah. The biggest thing with that, though, like parenting and, quote unquote, dealing with kids in a workspace is just their safety. Like, that's the biggest thing. And that was what I said to the 14-year-olds when I found them. But I was just like, it's about the like it's about their safety. Like we have a lot of really cool stuff in my space in my work. They can't be crawling if you don't know where they are. They can't be crawling through these holes and doing all this stuff if you don't know where they are because like safety is our first priority, and that's a huge thing in parenting as well.
Yeah. If you've listened to any of our other podcast episodes, I've definitely said this before, but my job is to help make sure Poppy doesn't commit suicide. Like every single day is her just trying
Yeah,
to like
seriously.
jump off things, put things in her mouth, stick her finger
Yeah,
in like a hole that we don't know what's on the other side of said hole.
yeah,
Um, and uh, people really, I think, really don't give that enough recognition, like, especially when you have
Yeah.
30 or 100 of these
Mhm.
kids running around literally trying to kill themselves. Like,
Mhm.
you have to constantly be on fireman duty, nurse duty, parent duty. Like,
Yeah.
you have to wear a multitude of hats. And I just think the way you handle that always seems so effortless, but I'm lucky enough to know the other side of that because you share with me. And I
Yeah.
know it's not effortless, and I know it takes effort and intention and planning and love, and like you share and exude all of those traits. And that's really fucking cool
Well,
of
thanks
you.
so much of me.
That's really cool of you.
Thanks.
That's a
No, it takes a lot of work, but it's all worth it in the end. Because again, just yeah, it's about keeping these children alive.
yeah, yeah.
Because my
Like
God, do they try to not be?
uh, almost every time.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how much you can talk about your new job, but I think in one aspect, this question will probably relate to that. But
Hmm.
also like you as a person. What does traveling look like for you and your family and like exploring?
Yeah.
But I also kind of want to know because I already know what your job does, and I want to talk about
Yeah.
how I want to explore like your job, but
Yeah. No, we
we
can
don't
talk
have
about that.
to.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
It's funny. I can talk about it as much as I want to. I'm keeping it. I have been keeping it very tight-lipped because that's just who I am as a person. Like, I didn't
You
tell anyone I was
also
pregnant until I was like about to pop. Like both times, like that's just how I am.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
also feel like you are well, you worked in the medical field before this. I worked in the finance field, and in both those industries there is a
Yeah.
lot of tight-lippedness. So you have to not share anyone's information that could relate their private information with the
Yeah.
world. Like when I worked for banks, I wasn't even allowed to talk about the customers we had because you're not allowed to know that they have an account with us. So there's a
Yeah.
tight-lippedness
Same.
that
Let me talk a little
comes.
bit about that. Like
Yeah.
I worked um but I was gonna say, when I worked in medical industry, yeah, very much the same thing. It was I worked in the mental health field. And so even more so in some ways, it's like people they didn't even want it to be known that they were going there, which I wish that wasn't as taboo as it was, but it was a little different than like, oh, this person has a checkup, they're going to their primary care doc, blah blah blah, whatever. It's like, oh, they're going to see a psychiatrist, which like in the 7 years I was in that industry, because I was on the admin end, I was very much in like the marketing end of it and like all this other stuff. So I was like, how do we make this less taboo for people? But that's a bigger problem. Like
a hundred
that's a
percent.
bigger thing. So yeah,
And not your responsibility. Not
yeah,
your responsibility.
thank you.
But now we both work in fields essentially where we need to talk about it. We need people to come. Like we're in the arts. The more we talk about it, the more we get people to join in. I literally sent a text message earlier today that was like to my older family members where I was like, hey, I know my episodes might not really be your vibe. Like, I'm talking about things that maybe are uncomfortable for you to listen to coming from like your daughter or your niece or your like family friend, whatever. But I was like, just turn the episode on, like follow and subscribe. Like, you don't have to listen, but there are ways to support without like hurting yourself, I guess, essentially is trying what I was trying to say. Cause my mom was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear you talk about getting it in the butt. And I was like, you literally heard the word butt and hung up. Like you turned the podcast off. I was like, that's not what I was talking about. But
Right.
I also empathize and understand that like I'm being as candid as I can in this medium, and that's not everyone's forte or everyone's comfort zone. But yeah,
Yeah.
we have to talk about it or no one's going to
Yeah.
know about it. So talk about your job, please.
Okay, great. um, so my new job is at a place called Otherworld. So there's two of them. The first one is in Columbus, Ohio, and Otherworld Philadelphia is newer. It's in Philadelphia where I live. It's a year old this week, actually. Like they've been open for a year. I've been there for about 2 weeks now. And I my role is kind of ever changing, but I am their facilities slash operations manager, but I'm also like a manager for the staff. So I basically make sure that the building doesn't fall apart and make sure that everyone there is doing their job. I always say that I like to be in really creative spaces as the most analytical person in the room. Otherworld itself is basically a big playground for everyone. I was telling you a little bit about this the other day that I'm bringing my kids there who are 1 and 6. I've seen people their ages literally like 2 weeks old to 80, and everybody enjoys it because it's like a big interactive playground. So people get to come and yeah, like you click buttons, you solve puzzles, you can climb through things. All of the rooms are made by over like 100 different artists, and there's 40 different rooms to just like explore. And it's really, really cool. So there's kind of something for everybody. Um, yeah, that's that's it. I was also telling you that it's sort of been like I've been I've been hearing that it's like a destination outside of a destination. So it's definitely like a little bit of a day trip sort of deal, but you can spend 30 minutes to like 4 hours there, depending on how much you want to really explore it and yeah, play the games or do whatever. But a lot of people will kind of stop there and then go to Hershey Park, stop there and then go down the shore, stop there and then go back to wherever the hell they were going. Like, so it's been really cool to see people be like, oh, this is a fun, like we have to stay in tonight, or it's raining, or whatever it is, because it's all indoors. Yeah, I'm loving it so far. It's been really cool.
So it's a literal travel destination. So I'm going to do my little podcast professional spiel here. There's
Yeah,
going to be a link in the info of this episode for Otherworld. I personally haven't checked it out yet, but hopefully by the time this episode comes out, I will have checked it out. And I will share like videos and all of that on social media. But go there if you're in the Philadelphia area, go to Otherworld Philly. It's definitely like it seems like it's such a spot to stop, to kill a few
right.
hours, to get the kids out of the car and stretch when you're on a trip from New York to Hershey Park, or, Ohio to Florida, like whatever. You're driving some weird route and you're in this area. Stop. Stop.
Absolutely.
Um we didn't answer the question, so we're gonna kind of go back. But what's
Sorry.
no, that's what this is, man. We're having a convo, baby. um, what is travel like for you and your family?
What is travel like for me and my family? So okay, to reiterate, I have a husband and then a 6-year old and a 1-year old. Over the past few years, like I don't know if you probably have experiences so far, but like the way Addie, my 6-year old, likes to travel changes like every 6 months. Like for the first, I would say year, no, 6 months to like a year of their life, they were throwing up every time we put them in the car. And we were like, why are you throwing up every time we put you in the car? And it was very confusing. And so we had to figure that out. And we never truly did, actually, with Addie. I don't know what happened. But after they turned 1, they were just like, okay. And I'm like, that's weird.
That sounds like it
That
could be like my kid facing the other way. So I think that's a
Yeah.
big one with kids when they're like that
Yes.
facing backwards and it's a new
Hmm.
tummy. They're just building their tummy guts. They're just
Tell me.
figuring it out.
That's my family.
Um, Poor baby. Okay, so but it got
Yeah.
easier.
Well, I will say, actually, you're reminding me. Yeah, you're reminding me. Once we turned them around, because I think it was probably a little bit past a year, that was like the catalyst for being like, can we turn them around because they keep throwing up on everything. And then, And then we did, and that was better. My 1-year-old now, so Maggie, she's 1.5, she has also started getting car sickness in the last, I would say, like 6 months or so. She gets overheated. So we have to put, and so the summer's been hell. So, but we basically just have to put the air on blast, and she's fine. But we figured
Oh,
that out real quick because I was like ready for it this time. I was like, "Are you gonna throw up too? Are
yeah.
you gonna
Are
throw
you
up?"
are you gonna be like the other one?
Yeah,
But no, so we little tip, because we drive from, we've been in New Jersey and then gone down to Florida, our temperatures have changed so drastically. We went
yeah,
from North Carolina where it was like snowing, Virginia where it was snowing, down to New Orleans where it was humid and hot and muggy. And Poppy had the exact same issue where it would get all of a sudden so hot back there, and we're full, the car's full of stuff, so the air's not
right.
circulating great. But we got this great little fan that we clip on to the headrest behind her so she can't touch it. It's like a stroller fan, I think it's called, or whatever. But it's so great and it keeps her cool, especially when we just get in the car and we're getting it cooled down. But we had that exact issue where she'd get overheated and then she'd vomit everywhere. And it was fucking gross. And when you
Yeah,
have a car full of stuff, there you can't just like
yeah,
quickly. We learned very, very early on that we have to have like accessible wipes. We have to have
yeah, yeah,
accessible like change of clothes. Um, anyway, go. So you and your family
yeah.
traveling, your kids suck. They throw up all the time.
They throw up all the time. It's changed the perspective a little bit, and I think also because I have a 6-year-old, I want them to. I know their memories, and their memories kicked in. They have one now, so I want them to make these like cool childhood memories. And so we kind of try to take them everywhere that we can. We'll still do like date nights and do little things for ourselves. It has a lot to do with wanting to give Addie those childhood memories,
Especially with their
and
sibling.
Maggie,
Like
but
yeah, but
yeah,
I'm sure like you said, like Maggie might not remember it, but Addie will remember doing it with Maggie. And like
exactly.
I hear stories from like my brother who's older than me. And I'm like,
Mhm.
even though I can't specifically remember that memory, I remember it through him. So
Yeah.
like that has value. I also really empathize with that like new parent needing to get away. You go from being fully independent to being relied on constantly. And there's this need and desire to like feel a little bit normal because nothing feels normal
Yeah.
anymore. Um, I was just talking to Ryan about that last night about how like I don't feel like myself anymore because I can't remember that person, and I'm trying to navigate being a parent and being a partner now with these responsibilities. And so like who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
But then, there's the exercises and work that I've put into it, that we are ever changing human beings and we forever will be. And every day is a new day. And all we can do is try and be a good person. There's no trying to attain the person I was, the person I will be, like whatever. I am
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
person now and I will be a person tomorrow. And we just keep trying. But
Yeah.
especially in the beginning, that shock of being a parent, you're like, wait, I remember when I was fun and carefree. Can I go out? Can I go out and play?
Like,
And
well,
like,
yeah.
um, that ebbs and flows, and
Yeah.
that's not for everyone, but I like empathize with that moment and those things. But I love that
Yeah.
you're putting Addie's childhood memories before your comfort because I know
Yeah.
driving with a kid it's hard, it's difficult, but there are like such value to it.
Mhm.
And in that, so what is your most recent like trip out as a whole
Yeah.
family?
Our most recent trip as a whole family was to Harrisburg. We went to Hershey Park. Um, yeah.
I went to
We went
Hershey
to
Park as a
Hershey.
kid, and like
I didn't.
again, I'm gonna throw up in the bio, whatever.
Yeah.
Go to Hershey Park. Like that shit was so fun. I loved because we went from when we were little to when we were older. Your sizes are candies. And
Yeah.
I remember when like I became a Reese's or whatever, which is like
Yeah.
one of the tallest, like the
That's
tallest
Addie's.
kid.
That's Addie's
Yeah,
Reese's.
yeah. And then I was like, and parents or whatever are Twizzlers or some shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to be at Reese's. And I was like a
Mm.
kiss and like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have a lot of childhood memories about Hershey Park. So I'm so excited to hear what you're willing to share.
Yeah, you'll have to get like Phil on here at some point too, because he also has a lot of childhood memories at Hershey Park. No, I never went, which is funny because I grew up in Philly. It was only maybe 3 hours from where I grew up. But and I like asked my parents recently, I was like, why didn't we go to Hershey Park? They're like, you know what? I don't know. We truly were like, I don't know. But we went to like Disney a lot because we had family in Orlando, so we were always there. It was really cool. Addie was a Reese's, Maggie was a chocolate mini, a Hershey mini. But we actually got to take Maggie on like a couple little rides, and that was just so cute. Like it was, we were saying like for like putting my comfort out the window to take Addie and have childhood memories. It's like it's totally for me too, and it's totally for Phil, and like it's for all of us because like I don't know how excited she was to be on a ride, but me seeing her on like this little plane sitting by herself, I was like, "Oh, you're a whole person. This is so cool." Like it was so
Wait,
cute.
she was sitting by herself? I
Like
really hope you have pictures. Please send
I
me
would
those.
I definitely will, but it was so sweet to just see them like, and then also like the rides that Addie could go on, but Maggie couldn't. Maggie just like watching Addie on rides and would get so excited and like squeal and wave. Yeah, it was so stinking cute. The whole thing was it made me call my parents afterwards and say, "How the hell did you bring 4 kids to an amusement park like every year? I don't understand what's wrong with you." Because I was so tired. It was great. It was really, really fun.
How did you get
It also
there?
we
I must have
drove.
been driving.
We
What
drove.
was
It
that car
only
ride like?
not bad. I had a conversation with Phil the neighbor about slowing down his driving a little bit because on top of the heat issues, Maggie tends to throw up more when he drives. So I was like, I don't want to put all of this on you, but we both like fight about driving. Fight is a strong word. We both really like to drive. We like to be the person who is driving and don't like being passengers. But usually if it's like both of us in the car, he will drive. Like he will prefer to drive and I'm like a little better at being a passenger. Um so I had to basically ask him like, can you try to slow down, like be a little bit more mindful because he'll get a little excited. And she was throwing up more when he was driving. She actually hasn't gotten sick since I've had that conversation with him. Yay. Yeah, so but I mean she
Coincidence.
ended up
I'm
falling
gonna say
asleep.
coincidence.
Yeah, totally. But no, the drive was really easy. I think we stopped at a rest stop once both ways because, Addie is 6, but we're still like, you need to tell us when you need to pee. And so like they're very good and on top of that now. Yeah, but it only ended up being about 2 hours from us. 2.5
Oh, that is
maybe.
such a decent
I
drive.
know. And it was fun. We spent a week. We were with Phil's whole family. Phil's got a huge family. We try to do this kind of trip every 2 years. Um, there's
So
20 there.
how do you do accommodations? Like, do you guys each get like separate
Yeah.
places? Do you do one big
Nope.
house? Like,
We do one big house, and I'm not kidding. There's 21, about to be 22 of us. This includes like children and babies and kids, all of us, but all together
that's
it's
too many people.
22 humans, you would think. But we have, I mean, since I've been in this, a part of this family, they have found a house every year. And when we first did it, I think they did it through Airbnb, and then the last 3 have been Verbos. It was so cool. It was the original like town bank in this little town. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like 20 minutes outside Harrisburg. Or
When you
20
say
minutes
bank,
outside.
you're saying like financial
Institution. Yep. Like
fuck.
it was a bank that
Okay.
about 20 years ago, this guy named Biff,
Biff from Back to the
rehabilitated.
Future. Yeah.
Biff from Back to the Future
Got
bought
it.
this bank and said, "I love like new age Americana vibes," and redid this whole bank to be livable for people to actually like come and like Sky Biff bought this bank and basically like he flipped it to be kind of like a small hotel. Um but it doesn't look like a house. Like there are like living spaces, there's furniture, like the like stuff he's curated. It seems like he's gone to like 1,000 different thrift stores and bought like everything that kind of fits this theme of like new Americana. And there was like a whole mural on one side of the wall that was like Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley and other like musicians. And in front of this wall were a whole bunch of musical instruments. There was a whole full drum set. There was an upright bass. There were like three different guitars. Um, and he was very much like, you guys can play the instruments. Just like if you pop a guitar string, tell me. Like it was a wild experience. He knew that there were 21 of us coming here, and he like made sure he was kind of connected to all of us, and so like we could all like reach him. It was it was a really cool experience. Our quote unquote rooms that we slept in were the original cubicles for this place.
I
That they just like
can't.
stuck a bed in.
What in the hell? I love this. Oh, you're sending me the link for this place. This will
Oh
also be
yeah,
linked in
he's
this
about to blow up.
bio. This
Like
sounds
everyone, it
awesome.
was cool. Yeah.
That sounds so
And
cool.
yeah, so four of the rooms were the cubicles, and two of the rooms were the bank vaults.
Wow. Okay. As a
Yeah,
former banker, like
I know.
this sounds so cool. Like if we bought a house, we've always talked about if ever we settled down and bought a house,
Yeah, yeah,
we'd really love like an old church or an old school barn that we can like redo the inside, but the
yeah,
outside still has that like old nostalgic feeling. And
yeah.
I just changed all of our plans. Like the
You're gonna buy a
only
bank.
place we're living in is a bank. Like
Yeah,
that's it.
it was.
In Jim Thorpe, PA. Like
Yeah, right. No, it was so cool. And very hard to explain to people. I tried to take so many pictures. But yeah, I'll full on send you the link for the Verbo because the way he describes everything too is really cool, and he's very much like, "This might not be for everybody. It's not your style. Don't be mean to me about it." Like, it was so cool. He had a fully stocked bar, and like we're my this family's a big drinkers, and so it was very much like, yeah, like like imbibe, have fun with the bar. If you want to leave me a couple beers, go for it. It was really really fun. And obviously like we found other stuff to do in Hershey, in Harrisburg. There was there was a ton to do, and with 21 people we always find something that a bunch of us will want to go do. The guys went golfing one day, like we all took the kids to the movies to see Inside Out 2 one day. We did an escape room, we went bowling, lots of breweries and like wineries. Super super fun, but the Verbo was definitely the highlight.
I have a dumb question. What kind of bowling did you do?
Are there different kinds of regular
There are
bowling? Oh
regular
no,
bowling. Okay.
regular bowling.
So, my goodness. There are different types of bowling. Ryan and I have been to duck pin bowling, which I think is our
What is
favorite.
that?
There's like smaller balls and
Ooh,
shorter pins, and and you get 3 throws per frame.
whoa,
And so like
that's
strikes are
neat.
different, your scores are different. We would go to one in DC that, or like outside DC, that you had to like write the score and it was like very old fashioned.
Yeah.
But we loved it. And then there's also like candlestick bowling, which is like with thin bowling pins.
Whoa, that sounds
Yeah.
cool. I always
So
forget
there's
how much I like bowling until I go do it, and I'm like, oh, this is fun.
It's such
But I
a
never.
I it's so fucked up, but it's such a fat man sport. Like it's such a like it's easy, it's fun, you get french fries, you can drink,
Yeah,
you don't have to like in baseball, like you're outside, it's hot. You're on you're
yeah,
if you're on, you know, home or not home, I guess not
Mhm.
home. You'd be on like first base. You're there for like 5 innings and you're so
Yeah,
tired, like I don't know how baseball is, you do, but
I do.
sports seem hard and bowling seems fun. That's why
It's really
I like
funny.
bowling.
It's really funny that you mentioned those 2 sports. My little brother is a really, really good baseball player, and in the last 2 years, he has been on a professional bowling league, and he plays it, like, just, like, in our hometown, he, like, is on, like, a professional bowling team and, like, competes, so it's
Uh
so cute.
your brother who I know
Yeah, Matt.
number. I was gonna say your hot brother, but then I was like, no, don't say that. Um no, that's
Oh, that's
really
so
cool
funny.
though. And he's such a like
Yeah,
little cutie. So it's so interesting that that's such funny
little
sports.
cutie is a better way to put it, thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah. He is a little
for my
cutie.
ears. Yeah,
Apologies.
it's fine.
Um,
It's good.
I love
We
this last
we look
trip.
very similar, so, like, your face
Maybe
keeps
that's
calling me
why.
hot.
Yeah. Well, I have and I will and I won't
Yeah.
stop. So when you travel as a family, just you, not 21 or 22 people deep,
Yeah.
what kind of accommodations do you do if it's like just you guys? Are you like Verbo people? Are you hotel people? Are you like whatever's cheapest,
Yeah.
whatever's nicest? Like what's your criteria? And then how do you find that place?
Yeah, whatever's cheapest, whatever's nicest. We mostly landed at hotels. I don't think as a family we've ever been in a Vrbo, like the 3/4 of us. Times when Phil and I have gone by ourselves, we usually have done Vrbo. Oh, we did this, so this was actually a couple weeks before I got pregnant with Addie. We went on one of our trips with his whole family and then a trip on our own to go to a wedding in, like, bumblefuck PA somewhere or New York. I don't remember where we were, but we were in the middle of nowhere. And on my own, I did like the research and I found this like wild Airbnb. So this was like 7 years ago at this point, before Verbo was maybe a thing. I don't remember. And that was like one of the craziest Airbnb experiences. It was very much like the host was in the house, like really wanted to get to know us, really wanted to talk to us, would be mad if we like wanted to go out and get food because then that meant she couldn't cook food for us. Like got in the hot tub with us at one like,
I don't
so
know.
wild.
That sounds like my ideal.
It was I mean,
Like
honestly, it was a lot of fun, but, like, it was just we had never
for a
really, like
romantic, yeah, for a romantic like weekend getaway, a third
yeah.
is sometimes not ideal, but sometimes it is.
Sometimes.
Um,
Yeah, but, it was fun. I wish I could remember exactly where that was. The house was beautiful, and I still have pictures from that too because the house was really, really cool. And it's, like, one of those things when people have those, like, beautiful old Victorian houses or, like, spaces like you were talking about, it's like, why not rent it out? But since then, we've done Verbo because there's not usually someone else hanging out. Yeah, Verbo, and then with the kids, we've only done hotels so far.
when have you done a hotel with the two both kids or not yet?
I don't think so. No,
Yeah.
not yet.
I was
Not
gonna
yet,
ask,
but,
like,
like
what are your sleeping arrangements? Because when we do a hotel, we wind up putting Poppy in the closet usually. And the things
yeah.
because she needs like her own space. So we can't put her in the bathroom. And if
Oh.
we wind up at one of those smaller hotels, we usually try and get like a two-roomer or like a
Mhm.
suite where she has her own space or whatever. But
Yeah,
there are times where we like shove her in a closet and the closet's
yeah,
not deep enough to like hold a crib. So we just kind of like have these doors sort of
yeah,
like like closed in on her
yeah.
and she definitely could like stick her finger in a thing and like break it. It's like so
Great.
unsafe. But we're right there because there's no
Yeah.
room. We're in one room. Um but I remember this like very specific instance where we were staying somewhere and they had a bigger closet, but they had shelving in the closet. And so we went and
Oh,
we
no.
bought a screwdriver and Ryan removed all the shelving
That's so
so that we could
funny.
put Poppy in this closet so that she could sleep because like she
Yeah,
needs her own like dark room or whatever.
yeah,
But so I that's why I was curious about the hotels. Like hotels are really difficult for us.
yeah.
Just because they usually don't have those like adjoining two-room
Mhm.
suites. It's usually like and they're so expensive then if you do that because then
Yeah,
it's double the price that you were going to pay?
when Addie was smaller. And we would bring the pack and play, and we would have to put her down, get her bed, get them to bed, like do the whole routine, and then leave the room. Like put the monitor in there and leave the room for like at least an hour so that they could actually fall asleep. Um, I would assume
Where
Maggie's
do
going
you
to be very
go?
similar. Just outside the room. We would literally sit outside the room. We did it like uh, at least 5
Uh,
different times.
wow. That's
Yeah,
honestly
because
impressive though.
yeah, but it was nice. We would usually like get like beers or something and just sit out and like have like a small little date in the hallway. And people would walk by, and we'd be like, "Our daughter's."
Um, I'm only like we did the exact same thing in this like situation where she would sleep in the closet where we would lay in bed next to each other watching the television on like silent um with closed captioning on, and then
Yeah,
we would text each other like
oh,
eating in bed next to each other, just like
yeah,
no sound.
that's so
um
funny.
but sitting outside the room honestly sounds a lot better.
Yeah, no, it was,
But
and it worked, and we would just wait till she would fall asleep, and then we would go back in. Um, yeah, we haven't had it was close, like when we were at the Verbo in Harrisburg. And since we were these cubicles, they didn't have like the walls didn't go up all the way to the ceiling. So we would try to tell like our nieces and nephews, like, please try to be quiet. Like Maggie's trying to sleep back there. And we would just like we brought our like smart speaker, our Alexa,
mhm.
and put the like sleep sounds on like really high so that basically they would just like kind of drown the space around it, and then she fell asleep. But it was a little tough some days. Um,
I had a roommate who, she's our best friend. She's our third musketeer.
yeah.
Um, but when Sarah and I lived together, we lived in an apartment in Philly that had, I think it was like 12-foot or 16-foot ceilings, and
Mm.
then only like 10-foot walls. So
Oh no.
so our bedrooms would just not have like ceilings,
Yeah.
and then you could hear in the even though there was like a living room between us, you
Yeah.
could hear like very easily into the other room. And so like it would be super awkward when we'd have like a boy come over, or like
Yeah.
we'd be on a date. And I remember one time I was on a date and she started playing Kiss the Girl by like the Little Mermaid soundtrack, and like trying, and that date ended so badly. You can ask her about it. It was terrible.
I
But
will.
what a hilarious way to build a place. We're gonna have
That's
walls, but not
so
walls
funny.
all the way up.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I get for this house, but like, yeah, that sounds like we have a hatch, and that's exactly what we do. Like on occasion, we have to turn the hatch up really loud because
Yeah.
the whole wall thing is crazy, but I love the
It is.
idea of being in a bank. So it's like such a
I
conundrum.
know.
Okay.
Maybe when you convert your bank house, don't make those the bedrooms.
Oh no, certainly not. That'll be we'll have everybody has their own kitchen. It'll be like an Asian style where you're like in your own little room to eat with
Incredible.
no entertainment. So you can focus on feeling full and
Food.
walking away. Yeah. Because I'm not good at that. I eat in front of the television. Have you ever been on a plane with either of them? Either of the kids? Not Phil. I don't care
No,
if you've been on a phone with Phil.
I've personally only been on a plane once.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, sorry.
That's
Bye.
okay. Uh,
um,
next
no,
question.
no, but I've taken Addie on a lot of public transportation. Little bitch loves a train. Like
We
I used to take
call
her.
Poppy a septa girl.
Yes,
Ryan is like baby girl. We took her into New York City on public transportation.
yeah,
We've like Ryan is anti-car, despite the fact that that's how we
we
live.
drive everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I love Addie. Like Addie loves going on public transportation. And when they were little, they were a baby where I met you, literally a block away. So we would take the subway and the trolley and the train everywhere we went. We had a car, but in Philly it was a lot easier to take public transit, especially if you're going into the city or anywhere really around. That
Yeah.
area. Maggie's been on the train and the subway. I think that's it so far. But yeah, I think that's really important for kids too. That was another thing that I didn't really experience until I was older, and I loved it. I think I might be afraid of planes, and it's truly just because I've only been on it once, and I was like 10. I This year that's gonna change because my new job, I'm most likely gonna travel. Bill's gonna be traveling for his new job, and like, yeah, we're gonna take planes. All of us are gonna take a plane. Saying it now, manifesting it
Yeah.
again, I guess.
Manifesting, we're getting that.
Yeah,
Okay, so you haven't been on a plane, but you love
no,
you know what I was gonna say, actually, I had this thought. The reason kids, and I think most people like public transportation is because I think especially kids, when they're in a car, they have to sit in this tiny little seat, this car seat to
yeah,
keep them safe. In a train, they can kind of walk around. I mean, we take Poppy in the stroller, so she sits in the stroller, but then we'll take her out. She
hmm,
can sit on the seat next to us. She can walk
yeah,
around. Um, I think that is just like why would we go in a thing where I have to sit? Why would we go in a
yeah,
thing where I can't move? That's dumb.
yeah,
And time isn't really a concept for children usually, so
mm-mm. Yeah.
that's why it's easy for them to be like, I would rather take a 7-hour train than drive for two
Where I can walk
hours.
around. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
awesome.
No,
So
but the
what
the minute I have to take them on a plane, I'm getting all my advice from you.
yeah, I mean, I haven't done it, so don't that's a bad
Oh,
idea.
never mind.
As much as I've talked to so many people about it, we've had Poppy and I have booked 3
Yeah.
flights together and
Book
we've never
flights to
gotten on the
come
plane.
here and you've never, oh, that's
Yeah,
funny.
we never had to. Yeah. Our lives just seemingly just move us. But so what's your favorite place you've ever been with your family?
Oh,
Hard question.
um, with like my kids.
Answer that how you want.
Okay.
When I say family, that's who I meant. I meant Kat, Phil, Addie,
Addie,
Maggie.
Maggie.
But if you want to take that back to you were 7 and your parents took you to
Yeah.
Disney, you do that, girl. I mean, don't. And sorry for like,
You're
but
fine. Um, I'm gonna be a little broad with it. All of like the things that are flashing in my mind every time I think about like any of those situations as a kid with my parents and brothers, with just Phil, with Phil and Addie. It's always been somewhere near water. Um, I really like when I can kind of just take them all to a space and we can like feel like everyone sort of chills out when we're near like some sort of natural body of water. The first time I took both of them, have I- yes, Meg's been to a beach. I was trying to think. The first time I took like both kids to the beach was like a game changer for them. You know, they were just like, whoa, like the world is vast, man. It's just so cool to see them like experience that kind of nature. Same with me, like every time my parents took us to a beach or just some sort of body of water, I feel like gonna sound so like new agey. I feel like I've had out of body experiences. I've just kind of like sat there and like been able to think and relax for the first time. Um, yeah. Ooh, okay, I have a real answer. Last
okay,
year,
go.
Sorry, Maggie was like 8 months old, I guess. And we just spent a weekend with my cousin up the mountains. My uncle has a beautiful mountain house that he's had forever, and like multiple generations of my family have spent time there. This was actually my first time there, and she has 2 kids. I brought my 2 kids with our husbands, and yeah, we just did like fun mountain things. But she took us on this hike and we went and found a waterfall and then we let the kids play in like a little lake and her kids are around Addie's age, like one is a couple months older than Addie, so at the time it was like 5, 5, 3 and 1, not even age wise, and all 4 kids were just like playing in this little lake and like skipping rocks and looking out at all the trees and like watching a waterfall. And yeah, it was an out of body experience. It was just so beautiful to be there with like my family who also became my friends. My niece, I mean, she's my cousin, so like they're not technically my niece and nephew, but I call them my niece and nephew. My cousin niece and nephew, and then like my kids, and it was the first time we'd brought Maggie anywhere like that. Actually, that was probably like her first big trip, and that was, again, like 2, 3 hours away. It was it was really beautiful.
It sounds like you obviously have a really strong connection to water.
I do, yeah,
Well, you need something to put out that fire. You need
yeah,
something to
yeah.
like mellow that fire out.
They're like, "You're too spicy. Here's
You're
some
too
water. Here's some mayonnaise."
I like got a little bit emotional just because I was thinking of you and me and your family at the water and us at the beach and how
Yeah.
I want that again. And fun.
Can I talk about also the trip when I visited you and you told me you were pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can I just, like, tell the story?
Yeah. Share it. So another is this in response to like one of your favorite destinations or one of your
Yeah,
favorite
favorite
trips?
destinations,
Got it.
favorite trips, also water. So there was a weekend 2 years ago where we left Addie with my parents again, and I'm like, I wish we could have brought them, but it just made more sense. We were driving from Philadelphia to North Carolina. I knew I was pregnant at the time. I was only like 3 months in, but still, like, I had traveled pregnant. I've actually traveled pregnant a lot. That's something I could probably talk about too. But I was traveling pregnant, so we didn't want to add any extra stressors, and we were visiting you and Ryan in North Carolina, and you guys lived in this like beautiful development with water all around, and I was just freaking out about all the water, and I was so excited. And as soon as I got there, I was like making a joke about how I didn't have to carry my stuff up because I was pregnant and we were going to make the boys do it for us. And we got upstairs and you were like, I have a gift for you. And I was like, no, no, no gift. And you were like, open it. And so I opened it and it was a little onesie and it said, did we just become best friends? And I was like, oh, that's cute. You're going to be best friends with my child. And then there was another one and it said, yep. And I was like, oh, how cute. Two onesies for my child. And I looked at you and you were like, "We're also pregnant." And then I bawled my eye.
I'm a little bit
But
bally right now. I had
fully
tingles.
I fully didn't get it, and I felt like such an asshole. And then I just spent the rest of the trip, like, holding your belly, and we talked about how our kids were gonna be best friends.
And
And
they are.
and they are, yeah. We also named both of our children after flowers,
Mhm.
Poppy and Magnolia. They're a month and a half apart, and they love
And
each
they're
other, and
friends. Yeah,
it's
they really
so
do.
great.
Poppy,
And
anytime sees a picture of Maggie, she just starts
yeah,
signing baby, baby,
yeah,
baby.
baby. The
Like,
cutest.
yeah.
They're so cute together. And like our journey was so fun in that way because I don't know how much you've talked about this or if you want to keep this in or not, but like
N-
we, the one of the bases, I don't know, of our friendship when we first met was that we were both trying to have a kid. And it took
Yeah.
us both so long. And I remember you joking with me. You were like, you just needed to do it first. You needed to get there, and
I,
then I got there.
yeah, I needed to see someone else could do it. And then I was like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
And I remember
Um,
it was so fun. Like, I was so nervous to tell you, and it wasn't because I thought, you were going to be mean in any way. It was just like, I know you want this so badly. And you were so kind about it, of course. But I remember calling you and like I was like pacing in front of my house and and talking to you, and you were like, I had a feeling, and it was just great. And then, a month and a half later, boom, we were in the same
yeah.
spot.
And my feelings were so similar because okay, so you told me right before we took our big friend trip because you weren't coming to Atlanta. We were going
Right. Yeah.
Sarah was coming to Atlanta. You had been hemming and hawing about maybe joining us for Lily's
Yeah.
birthday. And
I
then what
wanted to.
happened? Yeah, and then what happened was you got pregnant and you couldn't.
Yeah.
And so that was essentially like the conversation, and I remember feeling like sad because you weren't coming,
Hmm.
happy because literally something we'd been talking about for months like manifested like more than
Yeah.
months, like it was over a year.
Oh, yeah. It was years.
um and then that was essentially the like month that we got pregnant, and like
Yeah.
it. it was that trip where all of a sudden, like, I think because I don't worry about myself, I was worried about you. And so maybe like I could finally stop worrying about you.
Yeah, like you took that worry, shifted, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
And then because I don't like to worry about myself. I don't like to, I don't like to
yeah.
be like, oh, Effie, you're not pregnant yet. You
Mhm.
suck. So it was like, oh, cat, we have to worry about cat.
Yeah,
And then you were like, I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to worry about anymore. And so then I got pregnant.
yeah. And
So
I remember,
thank
like,
you again.
you're so welcome for all of the big changes in your
My life would be terrible without you.
life. I forgot what I was gonna
But yeah, that was and getting to go through pregnancy with like your friend is
say.
something. I mean, it's just like so there's nothing like it. Like going through pregnancy with your
Mhm,
sibling, your cousin, your family member, your friend, like being in these parts even a few months apart.
mhm.
Like I just felt so lucky because there were some parts that were so fucking scary and
Yeah. We
you know
talked so much during that time. I mean, we always
even
talk a
now,
lot,
yeah,
but
yeah. Even
yeah.
now though, like what you're going through with your child, what I'm going through with my child, like
Mhm.
we share a lot of those stressors, things we're worried about, things that
Yeah.
we're unsure of, things that we're excited about. Like,
And it's
uh,
funny because, like, one of the things and we were talking about this yesterday, but, like, one of the
mhm,
things that I think is really good and important about, like, having someone who's, like, close in age like, that kind of thing, like, kids close in age, the first thing is always like, "Oh my god, I'm comparing kids." And then you very quickly realize, like, "No, this is my friend. These are 2 different 4 different humans, essentially." Like, you don't have to do that. And I think
yeah.
that's something that you have, like, hugely taught me. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I think.
it's one of
No,
the
thank you.
things that I've learned through my mental health journey of just
Yeah.
like it's so instinctual or like common to look at other people and see what you don't have or
Yeah,
why it's different or like there have been multiple times where I've looked at you and thought like, oh, you got that, like I want that, why don't I have that? Or
yeah,
um Maggie says or does something and I'm like, wait, Poppy hasn't done that, or
yeah, yeah,
and vice versa, and just like reminding each other like they are different people just like
yeah,
we are different people and we are all
yeah.
learning. Let's
I think it's like it's everybody needs an Effie and Cat because it is very important that we have each other in those moments,
Yeah.
and you've
And don't
helped
worry,
me
here we
hugely.
are. We're here,
Yeah, we're
guys.
here for you.
Listen to this. We're here
Apparently,
to
I
tell
change lives.
you. Yeah. We change lives. We do.
We change lives.
And we want you to know whatever's standing in your way, like we're here to tell you you can do it if you want to. Just
Mhm.
come on. We got you. You got it. Okay. Hardest part of traveling with kids apart from vomit. So take the vomit out of it. Let's
Take
just
the
say you've
vomit
got
out.
regular, normal, everyday kid. Like
Yeah.
what part did you have to put effort and intention into navigating, and like can you give the listeners any help in navigating some of those like normal difficulties?
Yeah, I think it was like maybe this is gonna sound obvious, but like the realization of like 2 extra humans and like feeling like you have to put your needs and wants completely aside. And then having your partner be like, "You don't have to do that, it's fine." But basically, just like the actual add-on of 2 extra humans, and not getting to I felt like vacation wasn't ours anymore. Um, like, it wasn't really
Yeah.
our vacation, and that was, like, a bummer for me for a couple days, and then after I came home, it's like I talk about it now, and I'm so happy because yeah, I didn't need it, like, yes, I do need a vacation, but it was about making those memories for the kids.
Well, I think
Um,
there's like a big instinctual difference between a vacation slash holiday
yeah,
and traveling. And I think
yeah,
more often than not, when you travel with children, you can't just put your feet up and get drunk and sleep in and,
yeah.
do all those things that people equate to vacation. So, yes,
Yeah.
in that way, it is not a vacation. But I think what traveling with your children gives you is expanding your education, like
Oh, yeah.
learning new and cool experiences and getting to do that together. is just like it's good for both of you,
Yeah.
obviously, because now you're talking about all the good parts. You're not thinking about like I didn't get to sleep in, so that sucked.
Yeah. But it's cool because, like, figuring out their routines on the road and figuring out their routines when they're, um, at the vacation house and stuff. One, like, perk kind of being around, like, Phil's whole family is, like, all the ages of my nieces and nephews. They range from Maggie's currently the youngest, so 18 months to, 12 years. Um, but there was another, like, toddler baby there who, very strictly needed her nap time. And so, it was really cool watching my brother and sister-in-law, they weren't afraid to be like, "Cool, you guys are doing this. We're not gonna go to Hershey Park this day because if she doesn't nap, she will be a terror. So we're gonna do this, this, and this." And, like, I felt like I didn't know how to do that. Like, I was like, "No, I wanna do what everyone else is doing," like, FOMO is real with me. I felt like I learned a lot from them being like, "We're gonna do exactly what our family needs, even though we're still around these 21 people." And, like, they seemed like they had the best time because they were doing what their family needed, and I learned a lot from them that by the end of the week, I was like, "Yeah, I don't need to go to this winery." Like, I
I
also don't really want to. I need to take my child home to nap, and then I get to nap for an hour or 2.
one, yes. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like the phrase people gave us when we were first parenting was sleep when the baby sleeps.
Do
Like,
laundry when the baby does laundry.
yes.
That's my favorite thing to say.
Shower when the baby's here. No,
Yeah.
but for real, in the first like 6 months, that was the thing everyone told us, especially when I was nursing. They were like, if the baby's sleeping, you sleep. If the baby's sleeping, you sleep, but don't co sleep, but don't do
No,
this. Don't
that
put
is
this
when
in
I
there.
get
Don't-
to go on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Yeah.
that's when I get to take a shower or like whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe. But I will say now that she's on such a regular nap schedule, like yes. At 7 o'clock
Yeah.
on most days, if I'm not in bed with her, like nursing and getting ready for her to go to sleep, that 30 minutes or whatever, that's also my like decompressed time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it means so much more to me now that I have an older child than I did
Mhm.
when I had a little child.
Yeah.
And so just for all the parents out there now, if you're traveling with your child and you're giving them a bottle, put them down and then sit in the room, sit outside the room. Like, don't go back
Yeah.
to the group or whatever right
That's one of
away.
the biggest things that I've learned is that, like, you're not missing out on anything.
I
You're
can
not
almost
missing out on
promise.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you need to take that time, and it was funny even talking about how we used to just sit outside the room. It's like, yeah, we weren't missing out on anything. We were taking the time that we needed.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and by the end of that trip in Hershey, that's that's what I was doing. But I owe that to my brother and sister-in-law because I like fully just watched them and was like, oh, that's a good idea. You know?
Well, so one of the things that I guess I struggle with is when Ryan, Poppy, and I, and Tilly, and Tilly, can't forget Tilly, um, when we're traveling, our daily routine is so much more. What's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like much more strict. Like we're on a plan no matter where we
Mm-hmm.
are, no matter what's going on. Like when we're
Yeah,
on the road, like every day, we essentially keep to that routine to the best of our ability.
yeah,
And when people say like, "Oh, well, what's home base for you or whatever?" Home base for us is in New Jersey. That's where a lot of our family is. We have places we can stay, all of that fun stuff. When we're
yeah.
in New Jersey, our life is utter chaos.
Chaos. Yeah,
It is
because
full
everybody
blown
wants to see
chaos.
you.
Everybody wants to see us. Everybody wants to, do this, take her, and so her naps get pushed, her bedtime gets
Yeah.
pushed, her this, gets pushed. Someone else is putting her to bed. So I'm
Oh
out
yeah.
and about at 7:45 going, oh, I think I need to lay down. Like
Yeah.
in New Jersey, our life doesn't feel like calm and breathable.
Yeah.
It feels like obligation and effort and it doesn't always feel like it's
Hmm.
our time.
I've
And
always
you
thought this, and I don't know if I've ever actually said it to you, but like when you guys come back here, it reminds me of like when we go to families' houses on holidays. because like it's very similar. It's these family members like thinking thinking that they're entitled to your time and wanting to like be around, I mean, like have all of this time with you because it's this day, it's this holiday, it's this time you're in here, and then everything gets thrown off. But that's
A
what it's always
100%.
reminded me of. Yeah.
And you feel like in full blatantly, like it is not even that it's on my family, it's on the fact that I'm like, oh, like my mom's coming over, like Poppy should stay up till 9 o'clock at night so she can
Yeah.
hang out with us. Or like I will say the other night it's firefly season here in New Jersey, and we're
Mm.
here for a few weeks. We were only supposed to be here for 2 weeks. We've decided to extend our stay because we have other family coming, and we're like, well, let's stay so Poppy can spend time with them. And because of all that, I know I'm making those decisions a little bit selfishly. I'm like,
Right.
well, I want her to enjoy this. And so it's firefly season. I'm like, I want to keep her up. I want to keep her up
Yeah.
to see the fireflies, but she goes to bed at the latest 8 o'clock. Fireflies aren't coming out till 9.
Hmm.
And so it's this huge, but I'm like, "Ah," and I want to, and I don't know how to navigate those things.
Yeah.
And so it's
It's
beautiful to
funny.
hear
I
that your
feel like,
brother and sister-in-law did
I
that
know.
so
It's funny.
well.
I the other night came home and was like, "Phil, there's fireflies outside," because we live outside of Philadelphia, so like there's a little bit of um nature and suburbia around me, and I live like right in front of a creek, basically. And so we get like all sorts of bugs and fireflies, and I get bug bites all the time. But the other night, it's funny that you were saying that, like, oh, I don't want to keep her up, but I do want to keep her up. Like, Addie's been waking up at night a lot, and the other night they woke up, and instead of being like, go back to bed, I was like, come here, look outside. Like, and it's fun because it's like you want to figure out when to do that, and it'll just happen naturally.
Yeah.
This is my advice that you didn't ask for.
No, I
But
didn't I though?
when Poppy's 6, she'll wake up on her own, and you'll be like, "Okay, wait, but come here first."
Yeah. Oh, you're
Um,
sad. You don't feel well. Come look at this.
yeah,
Look at these fucking bugs.
these
They light up.
firebugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They make no sense. Let's stare at them. And she's such a
I
bug kid
love it.
already. She knows
Mhm.
how to sign, I think, like over 10 bugs. And so she'll know the difference between like if she sees a spider or if she sees like a beetle or if she sees a ladybug or if she sees an ant. Like
Yeah.
she knows all those nuances. So I have no idea what it'll be like to have her witness a lightning bug or a firefly or whatever. We actually, you know what? So there's this new thing in podcasting where you can vote and we can get a conversation started. What do
Yes.
you call in the fan mail thingy? Tell me what you call those little bugs that have the butts that light up. Are they lightning
Yeah.
bugs? Are they fireflies? Are they little twinkly guys? What do you call them?
I love this. Yes, I want to know too because
Call to action.
we had very specific names for them in Philly, and then I went other places and they called them other things, and I was like, "What? What are you talking about?
What you saying? It's the
That's a
Taylor
John bug. What are you
ham.
talking about?"
A John bug for what everybody doesn't know. John is a
Everything.
synonym for everything. It's for anything.
You're
It's for
John.
every and
I like
anything.
that
You're a
one.
John. I'm a John. This is a John. We're talking about a John. Like it's all John. All right. JAWN. John life.
Totally.
Okay. So we are very close to the end of this, mostly
Yes.
because kids wake up.
Yeah.
Um, so I have kind of two more questions for you.
Okay. I'll be quick.
Basically, no, do you have any tips or tricks that you want to share with anybody about traveling with kids? Is there anything that you're like, this has worked for me? I hope this works for somebody else.
I don't know. Just listen to yourself and do what you want to do. It's not helpful.
So your advice is listen to yourself, don't listen to me. That's great advice, honestly.
Listen to Effie. Don't listen to anyone else.
And
Yeah, sorry.
listen to
I don't
Effie
have
though. No,
that
you're right.
advice.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that was the best advice you
Yeah.
could give someone. If
Yeah.
you don't know what to do, listen,
Yeah. You know
follow,
what?
like, subscribe, go to
Let me
patreon.com.
change my answer because I don't travel a lot, and every time I have a question about traveling, I literally text you. So just listen to this podcast. That's all you need.
go
Please.
to Instagram.com. No, don't go to Instagram.com because what is that? Go to the
Yeah.
Instagram app and type in Momatic Adventures. Go to momaticadventures.com. Go to patreon.com/Momatic Adventures. There are so many ways to get in touch with me. Last question I'm trying to do with everybody, and I'm going to
Yeah.
give you the opportunity as well. Do you
Ooh.
have any questions for me? Do you have a question that you want to ask me? You be the interviewer. Go.
I have so many questions, but I guess I'll boil it down to another reason why I am not great traveling is because I'm so bad at packing. Since you've done it so often now, do you have any tips for packing, especially for
Yes.
3 different people and a dog?
Yes and no.
Okay, great.
Um, I did do an episode called Stuff, and in Stuff, I
Yeah.
kind of break down the things that are important, but I don't really talk about how to pack because packing is weird and each person kind of needs what they need
Mm,
individually. So what we try and do is we have 3 suitcases, and in those 3 suitcases, we have all the things that like would be in your closet, in your drawers, in your bathroom, all
yeah.
that crap. And that stuff actually ends up on the roof. So, and when we actually
Oh,
pack that stuff, we try and pack it as small as we can. We make sure that there are no batteries or electronics in that stuff.
uh-huh.
Batteries can leak if it gets too hot. There's no like compressed air things. Stuff like that. Nothing that if it gets wet, it's damaged. So clothing, bathroom stuff, whatever. And that all goes on our roof. We pack the same way I think most people pack. We stuff things into a suitcase, then we sit on it, and then we close it, and we hope for the best. I think genuinely that's everyone's
Yeah.
packing criteria.
So
We do try
that's
and fold
correct.
things.
That's how to do
Yeah,
it.
you're doing it right. You've got it.
Dope.
And then we do tote bags. So we've got a number of tote bags,
Nice.
I think like 4 or 5, and they're allocated to a room and a necessity. And then
Mm,
Ryan has a great duffel bag that usually fits most of his clothes. And then Poppy and I get like 2 or 3 outfits that can go into there
nice.
for when we're not able to access roof content. So,
I like that. So you have like an accessible clothing bag and
yeah.
then everything else
So we
on
have
the roof. Nice.
accessible clothing bag that goes in the actual car, a food
Yeah.
bag, pantry type bag, an electronics bag, anything that has to come out of the car every single time we stop, because we have
Mhm.
stopped in places where it is like 1,000 degrees and all of a sudden the
Yeah.
inside of the car is way too hot, things burst, things pop.
Yeah.
Um, that includes soda. So if anybody doesn't know, I'm a Diet Coke gal.
Which is like coke
Cans of
out.
soda left in the car will explode. They will explode and they will explode all over your stuff. So I just want you to know that for your safety and happiness and all of that. And then, yeah, so we have those bags. We have a first aid kit, diaper bags go in the main part of the car. And then Poppy has her bag. And what her bag
Yeah.
consists of is like her hatch, her sheets, her sleep sacks, her teddy bears, she wears
Yeah.
disposable diapers at night. So, also for anybody who doesn't know, we travel full time and we use cloth diapers, which a lot of people think is insane. I do a full episode on that, so you can go and take a
Excited
look at
about that.
that one.
Yeah, you're
Um,
able to find like laundry everywhere
yes, we
for
have
that.
to.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Um, and if we can't, there are ways to still clean our diapers, which again, listen to our episode on diapers, guys.
Can't wait.
But so we have we in the like bed bag is the disposable
Mhm.
diapers. We use disposable diapers at night when she's sleeping. And her like camera and then her actual bed. She sleeps in a pack and play all the time. So that goes in like the bed of our car.
Yeah.
And that's our accessible stuff. Like
I
that's
love that.
it. And the main goal with packing is whatever you think you need, you don't. Like
I
you
love
need
that.
less. Just like we just got back to New Jersey a few days ago. We're staying a little bit longer. I already have 3 bags of donation returns because if you've got Target clothes that your kid has grown out of in less than a year, you can bring them to Target and get store credit for them. So I have a bag of Cat and Jack stuff that I'll bring back to Target so I can buy Poppy's next size worth of clothes. And just stuff that I haven't worn, stuff that has come with us for the last 6 months and I haven't worn it. So it's not coming again. It's getting
Yeah.
donated. That's it. Those are the rules. Get rid of it. Marie Kondo your shit. Get it out of
Yes.
here. Get it
I
out.
need to do that. I need to do that, but with my house.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Just pick a room. Just pick a room.
Yeah.
And like, it's really that split second. It's that moment.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, well, and I also, I go into a spiel about this in another episode, but I'm going to do the spiel again right now. Um, People give gifts. People think that they give gifts because they don't want to throw something out. They don't want the responsibility of throwing something in the garbage. And so they give it to you. I have family members who bring over their food that they're like, literally the other day, someone gave me a fucking full thing of orange juice and was like, here's orange juice for you. And I was like, oh, we don't drink orange juice. And they were like, okay, well, then you can throw it out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So you just gave me a task. Thanks so much. Or I received a text message that was like, hey, we have all these hangers for children's clothes. Do you want them? And I said, we travel full time. We have no use for hangers. Well, I'll save them until you guys get a house. Why? Throw
No.
them out, donate
Yeah.
them, get them the fuck out of your house, get them out of my house. Like, why are you passing on the burden of throwing something out? Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks. You don't want to contribute to landfill. You don't want to contribute to whatever, then donate it. My mother-in-law, love her to death, has a bag of socks and hosiery and shit that she was gifted back when she used to work. She's retired. Like, and she just, every time we come over, she's like, anybody needs some hosiery? And it's like, no, no one's worn hosiery in 30 years. Get rid of it. Throw it out. And she's like, I can't throw something out that hasn't been used. It's brand new. Donate it then.
Donate it.
I bet someone could use it. Get it the fuck out of your house.
I'm gonna come steal her hosiery bag and donate
I
it.
I also am gonna give
Please
another
tell me where it
fun.
is next time I come.
I'm going to. I'll just pack the bag and bring it to you. It'll be at Otherworld on
Oh,
Friday.
great. Perfect.
You can
So
just
be like,
leave it in
"What's
your
this bag
desk.
of hosiery?" I'd be like, "Does anyone need hosiery?"
It's for everybody.
Oh
You know how many
no.
people do like hair things? They could use it for their hair. You know, when they put like wigs
Oh
on and
yeah,
stuff.
I've
Like
seen that.
that's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. Like it could just be used for so much, and she just has it in a bag here because she's like, I can't throw something out that's brand new. Like
yeah.
that's such a I get it. I get it. But that's
Boomer mentality.
uh, anyway, there's also this one person on social media who takes their stuff that they no longer want. And when they go somewhere, they just like they go to a restaurant and they put it on a shelf in a restaurant. And then they go back to that restaurant. Like if you go to Applebee's, Applebee's has a ton of shit on the wall. I bet you if
Yeah,
you go and put
for
something
sure.
on one of those shelves, no one will know. It'll stay there for 30 years. Like
I would totally do that.
like that's exactly what you should be doing with your weird tchotchkes that you don't want anymore. Like
Yeah.
make it a game. Make it a game to
Hmm.
get rid of stuff. Like get rid of it.
Or go to that.
I say as I'm surrounded by
My
stuff.
tchotchkes. Go to the bank house and just leave stuff. But he literally was like, "You can leave stuff here," and so I left a couple like knickknacks and I made
Yeah,
a
you
flag and I put it
did.
on the wall.
Yes, I've stayed at Airbnbs where I've painted what I've seen like out the window and they've like hung
Yeah.
it up or they've like
Yeah.
kept it. And I'm like, you're hilarious. Like I did that
Yeah.
stoned, not like I put no
Yeah.
effort into that. I was so bored. It was just like a study. And they're like, we love it. We're framing it. I'm like, you're fucking nuts.
Amazing.
But
All right, I
whatever.
finished my coffee.
And it's two
We
o'clock,
did
which
it.
means my kid's gonna wake up
Perfect.
in
Yeah,
two
my
seconds.
child is yelling. I
I
gotta get
love you
mine too.
very much.
I love you. This was wonderful.
Okay, I love you.
I love
Thanks so
you.
much for listening. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for hearing. Thank you so much for being here. Like I know that you might not feel this way, but I'm like very excited to have had you as a guest.
No, of course I feel this way. And I'm just gonna don't cut this out. Don't cut this out. Everybody listen to this podcast every single week. I've listened to every episode and I've fallen more and more in love with my best friend. It's great because I feel like I just get to listen to Effie tell me a story every week. So when I don't get to call her, it's incredible because I'm just like, oh, I'm just listening to my best. We're just having a phone call that I'm not responding to. I've learned so much from you. I'm so freaking proud of you for doing this. You're an
I'm cutting
incredible
all of it out.
Momo. Nope, you're an incredible Momo. You're an incredible friend. You're really freaking funny. You're really freaking hot. No, but I'm just really proud of you and I'm honored to be here. And yeah, everybody go join the Patreon with me.
Kat was the first person to join our Patreon. So if you want to be like
Yeah,
Kat,
great content.
you should do it.
Yeah,
It's my
heck yeah.
content on Patreon is basically it's a journal. It's me like full blown emotional spewing, like you are getting my deepest, darkest, scariest thoughts. Lucky.
It's fun
And it
though. I
only
get
costs
really cool emails.
$3.
Yeah, I love it.
I love you.
Yeah, I love
Um,
you.
I'll text you in 10 minutes. Bye.
Okay, bye.
For those of you who love Momatic Adventures and just can't get enough, please head over to our Patreon. If you contribute, you can join in and be a part of our nomadic parenting community, as well as get some behind the scene content. And if you don't want any of that extra stuff, you can actually just click the support the show link in the info of this episode, and you can support the show for as little as $3. Any little bit helps us keep going. I do this entire podcast for the most part on my own. I am the editor, I am the scheduler, I am the planner, the interviewer, the marketing manager, and the all around hat wearer. And truly, any support helps. And if you support us this week, next week, we will give you a shout out, a thank you directly to you on the episode, just, saying thanks so much for supporting us. And if you're like, hey, I would love to support, but I don't really have the money or I don't want to give my money to you guys, that's totally cool too. There are so many other ways to support. You can head to Instagram, Threads, YouTube, all the social medias. We're under Momatic Adventure Pod. If you have an idea for the show, if you think you know somebody who would be a great guest, or if you just have a question or like want to talk to me, you can send me a text. The info for that is also in the info of this episode. So there's links there for you to support the show, to text us, to follow our socials, blah, 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 blah. Come, hold my hand. Let's go on an adventure.